And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. My name is Keedy Awadu, aka the Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific Time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Tuesday. It is the 19th day of November, the year 2024 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6264 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we've realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. Yeah, man, that's how we roll when we get started in the mornings. I hope you are in beautiful spirits today. I am not feeling so bad at all. I'm excited because I'm about to enter a new chapter of my healthy lifespan. On December 1st, I will be leading a group 56-day stem cell rejuvenation program from the very core of our existence, which is the basis of our biology, the cell. That's where it all begins. Every minute, your body, my body, creates 300 million new cells, and a critical part of the cell creation part is called stem cells. Stem cells are kind of rudimentary biological elements from which cell proliferation and differentiation emerges. A stem cell can grow into as many as 200 different types of cells throughout the body, which the body, of course, signals to that stem cell creation process in the bone marrow and in adipose tissue of what types of cells are needed for the body. Anything from replenishing and rejuvenating, rebuilding a liver that's been surgically damaged, or parts of our brain, our neurological system, stem cells, 200 different types of cells. I have come up with a protocol, a program. I tested it out in March 2021, and it really did work. Some of you saw the before and after picture of that 56-day period, and almost everyone unanimously said, yeah, the photograph and the after picture, he looks substantially younger than a photograph in the before picture. This is a 56-day, 2 lunar cycles. So we're about to start that on December 1st. So I'm really excited about that, and people are starting to join. I encourage each and every one of you, if you want to consider what it would feel like to reverse the clock in your aging, biological aging, physiological aging, in a relatively short period of time, 56 days, 2 months, that's not a very long period of time. But to be able to see such a dramatic transformation, let alone when we talk about stem cell therapy, which can cost anywhere from $2,501 to $2.1 million for stem cell therapy, and that our body can actually do this naturally on its own. So join us. I'm going to put up information here a little bit later. You could always text me at 702-580-0662, and that text will get you into what we're doing. And I hope I can convince as many of you as possible, my family, my LIB radio family, as many of you as possible, to join me on this journey. Today, Tuesday the 19th, today on LIB radio, as we are looking for practical models of the type of peaceful, prospering urban societies that we would like to replicate for a sustainable future, there are some pretty impressive models and examples that I wish to highlight today. It is a critical time for us all, especially our national leaders, to reimagine new possibilities or get the hell out of the way of peaceful, sovereign, and sustainable development. Reimagine new possibilities or get the hell out of the way. Excuse me, Kamala Harris was just told to get the hell out of the way, but only to have that void filled by Donald Trump, whose attitude towards the environment is drill, baby, drill, dig, baby, dig. That's not progressive. Get the hell out of the way. So we're going to have to do this on our own. These national leaders cannot be trusted. Not in America. But I'm going to give you examples of cities across the country, across the world, including 3 cities in America, where they seem to have the right attitude towards sustainable urban planning and urban development, the right attitude about protecting the environment and enhancing the value of life for the family, for the children, for education, for safety, security, for sustainability, for regenerating nature and natural forests and woodlands and things. Hey, we got some great models out here. So that is the core of the conversation. Most of the world lives in peace, yet a small group of nations engage in most of the exploitation, war, and violence that persists globally. And that is true. So that's the summary chapter. We've gone through a number of chapters, probably about 14 or so, I have to count them all up, of our studies of the upcoming book. The book is entitled Disaster Preparedness. No, that's a subtitle. No, that's the title. Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. And the subtitle of the book, and let me see, I have it up here on my desktop. The subtitle of the book is, what is the subtitle of the book? Go to my desktop. The subtitle of the upcoming book is The Untold Story of How the Global Economic and Security Order is Shaping Up for the 21st Century. Let's get into today's study. I'm excited. Every time I'm getting close to finishing a book, I get excited. I'm sure you can imagine. And this will be number 55. Number 54 will be coming out in 2 weeks. And then number 55 will be coming out a week or so after that. This is the summary chapter of Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. The summary chapter, Reimagining the Future. I began each chapter of my books with an inspiring quote from a scholar, an insight, a key player in world affairs, when they say things that are relevant to what it is that we are studying, and that inspire us to do better, engage better, collaborate better, cooperate better. I like to share those words. The first quote is from Daniel Libeskind. He's an architect, he's an author, and a number of other things. And he writes this, again, Reimagining the Future is our chapter. Cities are the greatest creations of humanity. They are the places where we come together to share ideas, culture, and innovation. I do completely agree with Daniel Libeskind, or Libeskind it could be, architect. And then the second quotation, I actually, believe it or not, was using AI search engines looking for quotes about sustainable living, urban living. And I said, hey, do I have any quotes out here on that? And it returned the following. Sustainable living is not just about reducing waste or conserving resources. but about cultivating a deeper reverence for the land, the water, and the air that gives us life. It's about recognizing that our well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of the planet, and that every choice we make has the power to either harm or heal. Kidi Awadu. Wow. Get down with it, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see if we have any more memorable quotes that are going to appear in this chapter. We began with the subchapter, Living Close to the Edge of Utopian Societies. As we are looking for practical models of the type of peaceful, prospering urban societies that we would like to replicate for a sustainable future, there are some pretty impressive examples that I wish to highlight. In so many ways, humanity has made huge leaps in the last few centuries. However, the scourges of conflict, deprivation, injustice, economic injustice, and caste-based hierarchy continue to disrupt the upward progress of humanity. In addition, with the proliferation of ever more deadly weapons of mass destruction, we live under a never-ending existential threat of species annihilation. This is no way for a truly civilized human race to live, prosper, and thrive. It is a critical time for us all, especially our national leaders, to reimagine new possibilities or get the hell out of the way of peaceful, sovereign, and sustainable development. Most of the world lives in peace, yet a small group of nations engage in most of the exploitation, war, violence that persists globally. Can we create clear models of how people can develop peacefully? Here are some examples of large metros in the world that are noted for their people's abilities to create safe, sustainable, and prospering environments, making them great places to raise a family in peace and prosperity. We should use these examples as replicable models, especially among those emerging economy nations across the developing world. Here is a partial list of cities that seem to be on the right track. Number 1, Copenhagen, Denmark. Known for its green spaces, cycling infrastructure, high quality of life, extensive bike infrastructure, commitment to renewable energy, and goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2015. Second on the list, and I didn't arrange these in any particular order, but they seem to come up on various search engines that I use, and so I kind of kept them in the order that they came in, but they are not necessarily prioritized saying Copenhagen is the best of the best. But I will say, in doing the searches, Copenhagen comes up very close to the top on all of the lists. Second, Stockholm, Sweden. A leader in sustainable transportation to become fossil-free or fossil fuel-free by 2040, and a strong focus on renewable energy and waste management. Stockholm features extensive parks, clean air, and a commitment to environmental sustainability. Vancouver, Canada. A pioneer in sustainable living with a goal of becoming the greenest city in the world by 2020. A comprehensive public transportation system, its natural beauty, outdoor activities, and progressive environmental policies are outstanding. And I would say it set a goal of becoming the world's greenest city by 2020. And that's laudable. I have been to Vancouver no small number of times, and undeniably, it is one of my favorite cities I've ever visited. Just stunningly beautiful. And it's somewhat reflective of Seattle, which is not that far away, but Seattle doesn't appear on this list today, even though Portland, Oregon will be on the list. San Francisco, a leader in waste reduction with a goal of becoming a zero waste set city by 2020. I should say set a goal. And a strong commitment to renewable energy and sustainable transportation. Now, some might say San Francisco, well, I've been to San Francisco many times before. It is one of 3 cities in the U.S. A little too much cayenne pepper in my green tea this morning. San Francisco is one of 3 U.S. cities that show up in today's list. And I would definitely agree that as a model city, San Francisco, and of course it's in the metropolitan Bay Area, which incorporates a lot of other cities in the area, San Francisco is quite progressive insofar as their attitude toward eco-friendly and sustainability. It is a tremendously expensive city and very difficult. And also, it has virtually been ethnically cleansed of black urban enclaves. So, San Francisco, eco-friendly, family-friendly, not necessarily family-friendly because it's just too expensive, but it is what it is. Going forward, Berlin, Germany, a city with a strong focus on green spaces, renewable energy, and sustainable transportation, with a goal of becoming a climate neutral by 2050. And I think that's a realistic goal. Berlin is a big city, and setting these goals of climate neutral is a positive, progressive thing for city governance to engage in. Next, Singapore. I've never visited Singapore, but I understand it's a pretty progressive city, and it's a city nation. Singapore is a city that's a whole nation. Singapore, a compact city-state with a strong emphasis on innovation and sustainability, featuring eco-friendly architecture and a goal of achieving 80% eco-friendly architecture by 2030. Singapore is known for its cleanliness, safety, civic responsibility, and extensive green spaces integrated into urban life. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Next on the list, Amsterdam, the Netherlands. A leader in sustainability and sustainable transportation with a strong emphasis on sustainability, excellent public transport, and family-friendly activities. A network of bike paths, a commitment to electric vehicles, and a goal of being carbon neutral by 2050. Next on the list, Zurich, Switzerland, a city with a strong focus on public transportation, green spaces, and renewable energy, featuring a carbon neutral airport and a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030. Zurich is renowned for its cleanliness, safety, and high quality of life. Next on the list, Helsinki, Finland, a city with a strong emphasis on sustainable urban planning, featuring a carbon neutral district heating system and a goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2035. Helsinki offers a high standard of living, excellent education, and a focus on sustainability. And that's what we're going to find in this entire list. These cities offer high quality of life. And, well, I have some other points I'll make after I finish this list. Let's keep going on the list. Oslo, Norway. A city with a strong focus on renewable energy, featuring a carbon neutral city center and a goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2030. Oslo features a strong commitment to sustainability and a high standard of living. Next on the list, Munich, Germany. Munich is a city with a strong emphasis on public transportation, green spaces, and renewable energy, featuring a carbon neutral airport and a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030. Munich is known for its green spaces, excellent public services, and family-oriented culture. And here, real quickly, just one quick correction. And next, Reykjavik, I guess I said it right. Reykjavik, Iceland. This city offers a safe environment, strong community, and stunning natural surroundings as it pioneers geothermal power for district heating, meeting 95% of energy needs from renewables. Carbon neutral by 2030, the city promotes sustainable practices with 100% of electricity and 90% of heating from hydro and geothermal sources. Of course, Reykjavik is a relatively small city. Iceland is a very sparsely populated nation. And of course, this idea of geothermal energy is because of the natural geography there, which of course projects, Iceland is projected up out the middle of the ocean. So it's got a lot of subterranean thermal activity and volcanic activity going on there. Next, Lisbon, Portugal. I've never been to Portugal, never been to Lisbon, but many of my friends from the UK, they holiday there. They just love Portugal. And I trust that they know what they're talking about. Lisbon, Portugal. Known for its mild climate, family-friendly atmosphere, and growing sustainability initiatives, Lisbon prioritizes eco-friendliness with initiatives like urban agriculture, tramway expansion, and waste reduction. The city promotes sustainable living through green spaces, bike lanes, and local food systems, making it a model for environmentally conscious urban development. The second of the 3 U.S. cities to make this list, Boulder, Colorado. Boulder is a pioneering progressive city, renowned for its commitment to sustainability. It aims to reduce emissions by 70% by 2030, leveraging renewable energy, zero waste initiatives, and eco-friendly policies, making it a model for environmentally conscious urban development. And I have been through Boulder. I don't think I spent any number of days there. I may have back in the day. I traveled as a musician for about 10 years, and I know I did spend time in Denver, Boulder. I know I've been to Boulder because of the university there, but it was a beautiful place. I can assure you that. It was truly a beautiful place. Not so high up in the air as Denver, but Boulder just absolutely gorgeous. And I was there at a time of the year when it was really just green and sunny and just lovely. That's what I remember about Boulder. Hey, listen, Let me just take a moment here and welcome in my listening audience. Who is in the house today? Is anybody there? I'm looking, I don't see big numbers, but I'm hoping that you are inspired by what you are hearing. If you can, hit the like button. Let the algorithms know that you are finding this to be compelling research. We'd love to hear from you. And hopefully we'll be joined by lots and lots and lots of people. I'm over here looking right now to see how many people are on our various chats. You now, I see you in the house. Ethnic Dreams, always appreciate, love you in the house. Little Joe said so. Love it, love it, love it. Great to have you in the house. Wishing you all peace and prosperity, and hope you find this to be informative. Let's keep going. Reading from the book, and we are in the summary chapter at this particular point. We are right now talking about living close to the edge of utopian societies. We're listing these metropolitan areas that seem to be getting it right. Calgary, Canada, prioritizes environmental stewardship with initiatives like the environmental planning, the environmental strategy and action plan, promoting sustainable transportation, land use, and community design. City stakeholders collaborate to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, improve energy efficiency, and protect natural areas, fostering a healthier and greener city. All right. Toronto, Canada, a city with a strong focus on sustainable transportation, featuring a comprehensive public transportation system and a goal of reducing emissions by 80% by 2050. So we see 3 Canadian cities have made this list. Interesting, because the United States has more than a 10-to-1 population ratio over Canada, but Canada has a progressive leadership in many ways when it comes to environmental friendliness. Of course, I have been to Canada many times, and Canada is huge. It's got a lot of lakes. It's got a lot of natural resources, and with relatively sparse population, it's easier for them to protect their resources. But they have a plan for it. That's the key. There is a plan. Rotterdam, Netherlands. Rotterdam is a city with a strong emphasis on sustainable urban planning. Features a carbon neutral seaport, and a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030. Gothenburg, Sweden. And it's got that 0 with 2 dots over the top. Not 0, but O with 2 dots on the top. So I think that's pronounced Gothenburg, Sweden. A city with a strong focus on sustainable transportation, featuring a comprehensive public transportation system and a goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2040. Next on the list, Barcelona, Spain. Now, I've been to Spain. I never went to Barcelona. I spent most of my time in Madrid and Salamanca. Barcelona, Spain, on the Costa Brava. I hear wonderful things about it. I've had friends who visit. A city with a strong emphasis on public transportation, green spaces, and renewable energy, featuring a carbon neutral beachfront and a goal of reducing emissions by 40% by 2030. Barcelona offers a rich cultural scene, parks, and a focus on sustainable urban development. Nice. Vienna, Austria. A city with a strong focus on public transportation, featuring a comprehensive tram network and a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030. Brisbane, Australia, a city with a strong emphasis on sustainable urban planning, featuring a carbon neutral city center and a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030. Along with Melbourne, Brisbane is known for its vibrant culture, parks, and offers a warm climate, outdoor lifestyle, and family-friendly neighborhoods. Portland, Oregon, the third of the 3 U.S. cities to make it to this list. Portland, Oregon, another pioneering eco city. Portland is renowned for its environmental friendliness, with a strong focus on renewable energy, green infrastructure, and eco-friendly practices. The city aims to reduce its carbon footprint while promoting livable neighborhoods, vibrant public spaces, and a thriving local economy. Portland, Oregon. I have been to Portland no small number of times, a whole bunch of times, and I always appreciated the progressive attitude, the progressive culture of Portland, no doubt. Next on the list, Dublin, Ireland, a city with a strong focus on public transportation, featuring a comprehensive bus network and a goal of reducing emissions by 40% by 2030. Dublin is known for its friendly atmosphere, cultural richness, and growing sustainability efforts. Tallinn, Estonia, a city with a strong emphasis on digital innovation and sustainability, featuring a carbon-neutral city center and a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030. Wellington, New Zealand, offers itself as a pioneering eco-city, boasting a strong commitment to sustainability and innovation, with a focus on climate action, renewable energy, and eco-friendly infrastructure. It aims to become carbon neutral by 2050, all the while fostering a thriving ecosystem and vibrant cultural scene. That sounds like a pretty good place. I think that's where our brother Omeka has located his family, in Wellington, New Zealand. Brother Omeka, if you're listening today, you know we miss you around here at LIB Radio. You are undeniably family for life. Another New Zealand city next on the list, Auckland, New Zealand. The city has pledged to prioritize eco-friendly development, with 30% of land reserved for conservation, marine reserves, and sustainable urban design. Initiatives include green infrastructure, renewable energy, and community-led restoration projects, striving for a low-carbon, resilient, and biodiverse city, Auckland, New Zealand. And the last city to make the list for today, even though I could have probably found many more, but we're talking about large, influential cities. Dubai, the sustainable city. A model of a pioneering eco-friendly community achieving net zero emissions by 2050. It features innovative designs, renewable energy, waste-to-energy systems, and efficient water management. Residents enjoy a self-sustaining environment with green spaces, electric transportation, and fostering a culture of social and economic well-being. Dubai. And Dubai is one of those modern cities that's been carved out of the desert of the Arabian Peninsula. And they're probably, and I didn't research this for today's conversation, but they're probably generating quite a bit of water from, what's it called, where you're creating water out of ocean water. I'll think of it by the time the book comes out. But they're distilling water distilled from ocean sources. Note, I write, that this list is based on a combination of sustainability indices, reports, and expert opinions, and is subject to change. Hopefully, that change will be growing as cities continue to evolve and implement innovative sustainability initiatives. Also, I point your attention to the fact that these progressive, family-friendly, and ecology-minded metropolises are nearly all established in nations that do not bear the burdens of perpetual warfare and conflict or imperial ambitions. Of the 3 U.S. cities on this list, San Francisco, Portland, and Boulder, they are unquestionably among the most innovative, creative, and progressive among American metropolises. We should all be so inspired to cooperate to make the cities within which we live such models of progressive, sustainable development. So, continuing the next subchapter, and let me see, do I have my header right? Yeah, there it is. 1 second. Let me just correct, modify, header, justification is justified left for these headers. That's right. Now, when you're writing the book, this is some of the formatting of the book that I teach in my course called From Pen to Power, 90 Days to Write and Publish Your Book. So I'm using those strategies right now. The next subchapter, Inspiring Thoughts for Sustainable Urban Development. Population growth fuels urbanization, and cities become hubs for innovation, driving sustainable solutions and social progress. Urban density fosters collaboration and knowledge sharing among diverse stakeholders, leading to innovation in renewable energy, waste management, and transportation. I would say transportation and other infrastructure. To serve the growing demographic. Continuing, cities become hubs of creativity and technological advancement, focusing on efficient resource use, green infrastructure, and smart city technologies. Urban planners prioritize eco-friendly public transportation, renewable energy, and waste management systems to minimize environmental impact. The concentration of people and resources enables the development of social programs addressing poverty, inequality, and healthcare. Moreover, urbanization sparks entrepreneurship and job creation, particularly in industries like sustainable technologies and social services. Society progresses through inclusive policies, an emphasis on safe, affordable housing, and access to education and healthcare. This dynamic environment does best when it fosters community engagement and resilience, promoting the highest quality of life and equitable opportunities for all residents, paving the way for a sustainable future. Let's share some inspiring quotes that reflect the ideals of building model cities for peaceful coexistence and prosperous societies. These scholarly insights highlight the importance of education, community development, and cultural understanding in creating peaceful and prospering societies. And so I'm going to share a number of these quotes. Here, 1 second here, bear with me. I have got to take a second out. Let me see. So many pages open. Where are we at? 1 second, right? All right. You did not want to hear me blow my nose. Hopefully, you didn't want to hear me blow my nose. And here are these scholarly quotes. I shared this one at the beginning of the program. This appears at the beginning of the chapter from Daniel Libeskind, or Libeskind, I think it is, architect, artist, and professor. He writes, cities are the greatest creation of humanity. They are the places where we come together to share ideas, culture, and innovation. Next quote is from Rebecca Solnit, author of A Paradise Built in Hell. Urban planning is not just about buildings and roads. It's about people and their relationships. Rebecca Solnit. Next quote from Jane Jacobs. Cities have the capability of providing something for everybody only because and only when they are created by everybody. I like that one. Jane Jacobs. Good quote. Next is from Jacqueline Novogratz. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. And that starts with building communities that reflect our values. That is so true. We are right now at a time where the persisting World War IV, which is Western nations versus Islamic nations, World War IV, we talked about that. There's a whole chapter in the book on that. But we're seeing right now, witnessing Israel being used as an instrument to destroy cities. An instrument of genocide in Gaza, but extending that destruction to 7 countries. Now again, cities are the greatest creation of humanity. So what happens when you see carpet bombing, whole destruction of city blocks? When you watch videos of what the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, is doing in Gaza, you'll see a video of literally a whole block going down in one massive explosion. Over 44,000 bodies have been identified. Some have speculated that there could be 3 times that amount buried under the rubble. This is anti-life. This is the destruction of civilization. And unfortunately, the world is tolerating it. Leaders of great nations are tolerating it. Of these nations whose these great cities appear in, many of them belong to NATO, which is tolerating the systematic genocidal annihilation of Islamic cities. People, we got a problem on our hands, and you notice that the talk in the last 24 hours in the Russo-Ukraine war, the talk, the rhetoric, the saber rattling has gone much, much deadlier. It could go up at any given time. The urgency for us to transform, to have a major global paradigm shift, is the most urgent it's been since the October 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. I continue. Let's share inspiring words. I'm going to repeat that last quote from Jacqueline Novogratz. We must be the change that we wish to see in the world. And that starts with building communities that reflect our values. Next quote from Ban Ki-moon, former Secretary General of the United Nations from 2007 to 2016. He wrote, and I quote, "Sustainable development is the pathway to the future we want for our children and grandchildren. It offers a framework to generate economic growth, achieve social justice, exercise environmental stewardship, and strengthen governance. Ban Ki-moon. Next quote from David Harvey. The city is a space of possibility, a place where we can imagine and create new forms of social life. Next, from Jawaharlal Nehru. Peace is not an absence of war. It's a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition for benevolence, confidence, justice. Wow, that was profound. And I'm convinced profoundly true. Let us continue. Next quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. So very true. It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Richard Florida, whose book we've talked about, his book is called, oh doggone it, I'll have to, it's one of my favorite books too. I just can't think of the name of the book right now. We've talked about his book quite a bit. The key to a successful city is not just the economy, but the people who live in it. That is true. The key to a successful city is not just the economy, but the people who live in it. Richard Florida. Mahmoud Darwish shared the following, and I like this one. Poetry and beauty are always making peace. When you read something beautiful, you find coexistence. It breaks walls down. Mahmoud Darwish. One more quote I'm going to share that takes us out of the book. This quote is from Stephen Russell. His book, The Barefoot Doctor's Guide to the Tao, a spiritual handbook for the urban warrior. Stephen Russell writes, and I quote, "For a few moments, attune your mind to the idea of harmony and peaceful coexistence flowing among all peoples and nations. The source of this idea is deep within your heart. As you calmly breathe in and out, picture it radiating from you like a fine colored vapor, gradually covering the face of the earth." Stephen Russell, Barefoot Doctor's Guide to the Tao, a spiritual handbook for the urban warrior. And I couldn't think of any more beautiful words, more inspiring words to close out this chapter. I wanted this summary chapter, Reimagining the Future, to be reflective of the greatness of human possibility, the greatness of, I can't say most of the people of this world, because most of the people are just kind of just plodding through, trying to consume. They want a little work, as little work as possible for as much money as possible, which means there's an imbalance, a zero-sum imbalance in the world. Most people are lemming like sheep, like following a matrix, living within a matrix that has been designed by people with nefarious motivations, with malintention toward the whole of humanity, and have too often programmed whole societies into unsustainable patterns of living. Imperialism's got to go. Neo-colonialism by the corporations has got to be, we got to overcome it. We have to defeat it. That is World War V. We've got to find ourselves back to the garden. And I'm reminded of that quote from Joni Mitchell. Let me see if I can get this quote into the record as well. We are stardust. We are golden. We are billion-year-old carbon caught up in the devil's cauldron. And we have got to get ourselves back to the garden. That's who we are. Fine words from Joni Mitchell from her song Woodstock. We are stardust. We are golden. We are billion-year-old carbon caught up in the devil's cauldron. And we have got to get ourselves back to the garden. That completes our series of conversations on the chapters of the book. The book is entitled Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. The untold story of how the global economic and security order is shaping up for the 21st century. The book begins its analysis at the beginning of the 20th century, with the era of imperial wars, which then went into an era of the fascists attempting to take empires, global empires, away from the allied groups of colonials. Then it goes into the global conflagration, a blazing hot, deadly episode called the Cold War. It was not cold, it was blazing hot with over 21 million deaths. That is not a Cold War. The next, we go into World War IV, the global war against Islam. And when we list the battlefronts and the casualties in that global war against Islam, from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria, Libya, Somalia, Jordan, Palestine, when we list all of these battlefronts in that war, which also extended into Turkey and Russia, Kosovo, there was a global war. Global war against Islam touched the African continent in multiple places, including Egypt, Libya, Somalia, including Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria, including Mozambique. The global war against Islam, including it spilled over from Somalia into Uganda and Kenya. So we understand, people. We see these patterns now. That constitutes, by every definition, except for a designation by Western historians and Western media, Western propaganda, does not designate those multiple nation deadly battles against people of the Islamic faith, Muslims. It does not designate those as a world war, but it did constitute a world war, and we reserve the right to tell history from the perspective that we see it, which may be much more in-depth, comprehensive, and accurate than that delivered by the propaganda line. Listen, Islamic people are human beings on this planet. They eat, they drink, they raise their babies. They want to live in security and peace. They want to be sovereign over the resources of the lands that they have occupied for thousands of years. Despite the colonial regime's shifts, Islamic people want to live in green neighborhoods. They want to grow clean food, just as do people of other Abrahamic faiths or Abrahamic faiths, just as those of us, the majority of the planet, who are not Jews, Christians, and Muslims. The majority of the people are of a number of other faiths, including numerous indigenous faiths. Can we all just get along? What if all of these representatives of all of these faiths stood in front of a picture, a model, a photograph, a high resolution photograph of Earth filmed from the moon? Would they somehow start thinking about peaceful coexistence on this beautiful water covered pearl of a planet we call Earth in the English language? Or would they, from that perspective, say, hey, we're a long ways from Earth, but we got to get back to that water-covered pearl of the planet. And if I kill you here in outer space, there's less of a chance I'll have to kill you when we get back to Earth. Come on, people. We can do better than that. Can't we? I would like to think so. That we could do better than that. So I'm going to wrap it up for today. Nobody talking to me, but I do have an audience. We encourage you to hit the like button wherever you are listening. If you are listening on YouTube, if you are listening on Facebook, I do see my brother Ronan is in the house. Ronan Aquaba. He said the truth is not represented. That's why you got it right, Kitty. Thank you, Brother Ronan. I appreciate, love you. I appreciate, love you for your participation. And I mean that in all sincerity. And he writes, 2 a.m. in the Philippines. I hear you. Great to have you with us, man. I would love to hear a report about what's going on in the Philippines. And let me just drop him a note. Email me your report from the East, dear brother. And that is Kitty, Kitty at chefkitty.com. All right. On that note, I think we've gotten through it. And that takes us to just about an hour for today's broadcast. Most of the broadcasts of the program, because there was such detailed notes on these chapters, would usually run about an hour and a half or sometimes even longer than that. So it's kind of refreshing to finish this in 1 hour. It gives me a moment here to just remind you, for anybody who wants to join us, we got something exciting coming up. The Stem Cell Rejuvenation course with Coach Kitty begins December 21st, 2024. Now, just as I was getting ready to, as I'm putting all this together, I wanted to show the people that our course is going to last 56 days long, and it's a active course. I'm not just teaching you, not just delivering you data and reports and this and that. No, this is about daily protocol. Among the many things, daily protocol that I'm going to insist our people do is what I do every day. Amongst the First things I do every day, I weigh myself every day at the same time, butt naked, on the scale. You don't have to know all them details. On the scale every morning, same time. Right after I finish my morning movement, I weigh myself. Today, I weighed in at 148.3. 44 years ago, when I was 25 years old, I weighed 145, which, according to the body mass index calculator, 145 is perfect for my height, 5'8.5". 145 is what I weighed 44 years ago. And in America, most Americans gain 1 to 2 pounds every year. Once people become obese, they start gaining 4 pounds and retain 4 pounds a year. And for most people, they gain that weight and carry it from the holiday season into the next year. So this time we'll have a protocol. I'm proud to say that my body mass index is close to perfect. If I wanted it to be 145, it would take me, today is Tuesday, on Thursday morning I would weigh myself and it would be 145. So I want to show you all how to put something in place. But the main thing we're going to be putting in place is the stem cells. The basis of cellular proliferation and differentiation, the stem cells. This is, from my perspective, the most advanced, holistic, natural, nutrition-based therapy we could possibly engage in. If you got one of a long list of diseases and disorders for which stem cell therapies are being proposed, I got you. I got you. Let me just quickly, because I want to tell you about the cost of what we are going to be doing for $300 if that's in one payment, or $320 if you make it in two payments. What is the average cost of a typical stem cell therapy in the United States? DuckDuckGo said $5,000 to $50,000. Ecosia said $5,000 to $50,000. Brave said $5,000 to $50,000. Copilot said $10,000 to $25,000. But they said the average range of hematopoietic stem cell transplantation ranges from $15,000 to $75,000. And that is autologous, meaning it's from your own body. If you're getting stem cells from somebody else, the cost for allogenic stem cell, and I'm going to teach you all of these different types of stem cell therapies that are out there. I'm going to teach you where the cells come from. But allogenic means they have to transplant stem cells from someone else's body into your body. Allogenic stem cell therapy, this type is more, it's treated for leukemia, lymphoma, significantly more expensive, ranging from $30,000 to $300,000 or more. The most expensive stem cell therapy known is called Zolgensma. Zolgensma. Look this up. The cost is approximately $2.1 million for a single treatment. What I am saying and what I will teach and what I will absolutely convince you of, that your body does this naturally. Now, it may not do what Zolgensma does, making it the most expensive one-time therapy in the world. And cost for that, one other source said it costs $2.8 million for a single treatment. Well, I'm going to teach you your stem cell treatment is daily because it's nutrition and lifestyle based. So here's the course. The Stem Cell Rejuvenation course with Coach Kitty begins December 1st, 2024. This program encompasses a 56-day guided regimen. Before I go back to that list, Brother Ronan, he says, I will, Baba. I would love that report. He said also, Kitty It's difficult being 30 to 40 years ahead of your time. You can tell by your hip hop book what a great visionary. Yeah. And Brother Ronan, I still love that book, Rap Hip Hop and the New World Order, but I don't read it anymore because at the time that I was writing it, it was really negative. It was a real negative influence, even though, and I'm sure you made the judgment that ultimately our resolution to the planned chaos in youth music culture, our resolution was quite positive because we resolved it with 7 Mac. We resolved it with another program, and I can't remember, but it was reaching out to young musicians and things and bringing them into our circle and planting seeds that they would put in their music, their ideas. And we actually did see it work, especially with the example of precise science. And there was a specific name for the project. I'd have to pull the book out. But I don't read the book anymore unless I'm referencing it and I'm talking to someone about hip hop. That book actually carried a lot more weight. I don't know if you ever heard me talk about, but I got invited to a number of conferences behind Rap Hip Hop and the New World Order. I can recall doing one conference in Los Angeles with MC Hammer. And in fact, the people putting on the conference had MC Hammer scheduled as the keynote speaker, but they had not heard from him up until a few days before the conference. So they called me and they asked me to be the keynote. So I got there to the conference and I was preparing for the keynote, and MC Hammer did show up. And so they told me, yeah, Hammer came through, so he's our keynote, but we got you here. We want you to speak at the conference. And I was very, very happy, especially to share that with MC Hammer. Absolutely. Very happy to do that. Because, of course, his celebrity status at the time. But I also learned during that weekend to really, really respect MC Hammer. When he told his narrative, it was awesome. It was awesome. And some people tried to heckle him from the audience, and MC Hammer slam dunked him. 1, 2, 3 of them, they quit trying. One guy kept trying to diss MC Hammer. You had $1 million and you blew it. He said, well, what is $1 million? It's relevant. It's relative. He says, let me tell you, he said, you went broke. You had $1 million and you went broke. Something like that. It was over $1 million. It's a Pepsi deal itself was $1 million. And then you went broke. And MC Hammer responded to him. He says, broke. That's a relative term. I consider broke to be any 1 month that I cannot raise $200,000 for a particular need. That was his definition of broke. And the guy in the audience just had to shut up behind that. MC Hammer, I got nothing but love and respect for you, man. And also, one other thing about Rap Hip Hop and the New World Order, I have a book around here, and I can't remember where it is. I think it's out here in this next room. Yeah, I know it's out there. But I was looking across the internet for different references on the ongoing Rap Hip Hop New World Order. I was kind of updating, and I was looking, and I found my name in a book. And it was a fiction book, but in the fiction book, the author is talking about the protagonist goes to a conference, on a hip hop conference, and I'm the keynote speaker. And he had my name, Keith Wadu, and he mentioned Rap Hip Hop and the New World Order in his fiction book. Now, that is quite a proud moment, Brother Ronan, I will say. So I want to thank you, Brother Ronan, for being, I want to thank you, Brother Ronan, for being in your brother's camp, your Baba's camp. I want to thank you for being persistent and insistent and focused and conscious and aware of the scheme. And Brother Ronan just confirmed exactly why I'm saluting him right now. He said, Baba, Diddy wished he read it. Yeah, the book did talk about Luciferianism, Satanism, and it talked about these deviant behaviors. The book did talk about when these rap celebrities got involved with national security agencies or the covert manipulators, the Luciferians and Illuminati. I did talk about being drawn into those networks of power and control, which obviously P. Diddy got drawn into this Luciferian sex cult business. The Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, and no small number of others. I mean, we could go back to there was the scandal at the Navy base in San Francisco. What was it called? Oh, I'd have to read my own book to recall these things. But we talked about those. And that scandal that took place in San Francisco at the Navy base, I can't remember. One of my neighbors growing up, who was a special operations in the Navy during the Vietnam War, back before they had the Navy SEALs, he was this big, bulky, bad brother. Keith Turner, praise be his eternal name. He didn't live to be too long, too old. He came back very damaged from the Vietnam War. But he was one of these special ops guys, and they actually guarded Presidio. That's the word. San Francisco, the Presidio scandals. Look up Presidio, San Francisco scandals, Vietnam War, red tagging, dope smuggling, satanic cult worships, murders, Presidio, San Francisco. You're going to find there's a great bit of research there. We've talked about those things before. Alex Constantine's book exposes a lot of that behavior. But there's a lot that we talked about. So yeah, Diddy, Sean Combs got caught up in something bigger than him, and he thought he was the big man, and turned out to be just a deviant, perverted. He wasn't just a body boy, but he was a psychopath. Diddy was a psychopath. And enough about that. We're closing out with this positive chapter, and we're actually closing out with inviting you, our listening audience, to join us. Stem Cell Rejuvenation course with Coach Katie begins December 1st, 2024. Encompasses a 56-day, 2 full cycles of the moon, 28 plus 28, guided regimen. Course includes 3 books: Living Superfood Life, Living Superfood Longevity, and Living Superfood Recipes Volume 2. Learn key principles of regenerative biology. And just that term, regenerative biology, most of us are supposed to say, I got it. What? Regenerative biology? Give me some of that. Detoxify the body and your environment. Focused approach on epigenetic processes and functional medicine. Dietary guides for optimizing stem cell proliferation. Natural means of activating 2 types of stem cells: the bone marrow derived mesenchymal stem cells and the adipose tissue derived stem cells. You will get access to a proprietary formula for a daily rejuvenation smoothie. During the 56 days, I'm going to encourage everybody to drink at least 8 ounces of this daily rejuvenation smoothie per day for 56 days in a row. I will share with you supplementation that builds natural, holistic stem cell development. Includes a guided 3-day water fast jumpstart, or you may want to do the water fast later in the protocol when your body is strong from the stem cell proliferation and differentiation. For some people, doing the 3-day water fast will be a perfect jumpstart. But for others, they may need to wait until they're strong enough, confident enough to do a 3-day water fast. A lot of people, we can explain to them how your body gets this long list of benefits. Every 12 hours, your list shifts. And after the third day, you are in the magic zone. Some people say, hey, after 3 days, I just kept going. Didn't feel uncomfortable. After 3 days, I had lost desire to eat food as my body was just digesting fat cells. So you will includes a 3-day water fast jumpstart, includes a weekly Zoom webinar, a 2-hour webinar on Saturdays, continuous peer-to-peer support via WhatsApp group, and includes a 1/2 hour one-on-one consultation with Coach Katie. All of that you can get in a single payment of $299, which the one-on-one half-hour consultation with me, that's more than half of that cost. So you can do this, people. We can do this, people. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. But we gotta get prepared. So, are we ready? Are we ready to change? Are we ready, willing, prepared, and able to transform? I would like to say the answer to that is an unequivocal yes. We've just finished 10 or 12 weeks of study of a book talking about disaster preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. So obviously, we are thinking about something significantly over the horizon. So let's act upon the best available information that we can do it. You can pay it in one payment or make 2 payments. However, the train is leaving the station. It's headed to a destination that you do want to be there. On that note, I think I've done all that I can do today. I will be talking about this up to, through, and beyond December 1st because the protocol is going to last for 56 days. And you will have access to all of the data from the protocol. You'll have access to the 3 books. I mean, the 3 books alone that I mentioned, $25, $20, and $15. That's a total of $60 worth of just books. Let alone the half an hour one-on-one consultation. That's most of the price of the whole course. So we can do this. And how much is that proprietary stem cell rejuvenation formula? Priceless. Priceless. You got people paying $5,000, or actually I saw one stem cell treatment at $2,501 to $2.1 million for something that can get their body to produce the way it was designed to produce. So no half-stepping, y'all. No hedging on this one. We have the chance to change ourselves so that we can change and transform the future. I encourage each and every one of you to do the best you can, to do the best you can. We are LIB Radio. We are LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. We're here every day. We've completed these 2 reports on these books, so I've got some other research and guests that have been backing up. Tomorrow I'm going to have a guest. We're going to be talking about his recent trip to the motherland, Africa, and what his powerful insights that he brings back. I believe he's coming back from Ghana. And we're going to talk about why he's just loving it and talking about removing his body from America. It's not good to stay in a white man country too long. You know what we're talking about. But why so many people now are starting to consider that we can do better than this. And we better start trying to do better than this. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. Peace, y'all.